In New York City right now, the city council is voting soon on a measure that would allow non-citizens to vote in local elections. This has, of course, major implications in the ongoing fight for election integrity. New York City Republicans are already vowing legal challenges if this is in fact passed, and most likely it will. Democrats hope that other cities will follow suit. We'll keep you posted on that. Meanwhile, Los Angeles is on the edge as crime continues to soar there. Take a listen to LAPD Detective Jamie McBride earlier this week.
We're wondering, how many times does somebody have to be arrested here in LA before they stay in jail? It's sad to say, but it's almost safer to hang out with Alec Baldwin on a movie set than to go shopping in Los Angeles right now. That's how crazy it is. It is so violent. We're telling people don't visit because we don't think we can keep you safe right now.
So it's so bad, police are warning people to stay away from Los Angeles. And joining us now is the host of the Rubin Report, Dave Rubin. His next book, Don't Burn This Country, comes out in April. And Dave, I think you need to speed it up because we're getting pretty close to that point, unfortunately. But great to see you, as always.
John, I was trying to be cheeky with that title, and yet here we are. Don't loot this country. I guess I could have said that. By the way, I always like to tell your Chiron guys, if they want to put under my name here, depressingly in Los Angeles, that would be just fine, hearing a story like that.
I know. I'm glad I got to come see you when I did for your birthday a couple months ago. It was like a little bloom of freedom in California for a brief second when Gavin Newsom was up for a recall election. And then, of course, he won, and now it's regressed back to, I think it's, I don't know. I think we've lost California, Dave. But let's move on because I don't know if you saw this or not, but we caught the attention of the Daily Beast this week for a segment we did Monday. Here's the story. Newsmax host wonders if the Patriot Front's D.C. march was orchestrated by the feds. Now, to be clear, that's not what I was doing. I was just pointing out that the FBI has a bit of a reputation problem. But let's go back to the article here and another quote of me. Bachman said he wasn't outright declaring the feds were behind the white supremacist march. Again, I'm not doing that. I just said that a lot of people are raising that issue. And the Daily Beast, to their credit, cited a tweet from Arizona State Senator Wendy Rogers. She called the group fake. She also cited a tweet from Dinesh D'Souza, who made some pretty good points, I think, about some issues you might pick up with this group here. Dinesh D'Souza has 1.8 million Twitter followers. And the article goes back, and they quote me here again, Dave. This is what I said. I'm not saying that the feds are behind this march this weekend, but just for the sake, again, people are raising this issue, Dave, and the issue is that, you know, the FBI need to do some explaining, I think. What Dinesh asked in his tweet, I think brings some pretty valid points. He says it looks fake. Why are their faces covered? Is it because they are FBI agents posing as right-wing extremists? Where are the media interviews? And this is the thing that I think is important, so we can see and hear directly from this group. You know, why aren't they talking to the press? They went to the National Mall. You think they want the attention?
Well, first off, John, you know you've truly made it when you're quoting yourself on your own show. Pretty good, John Bachman. A good day for you. Look, Daily Beast, let me just say something about Daily Beast first, because I have no doubt that they're watching this right now. It is an absolute trash rag that nobody clicks on except when they run hit pieces or they lie about people or they lie about what people said so that gets them clicks. They're like really, in some ways, they're worse than BuzzFeed. They're worse than HuffPo. They're just truly trash. As to the point of all of this, the substance of this, of course it's possible that these were feds. Where is this group's Twitter account? Where is their Facebook feed? Where is their Gab account or other sort of scary right-wing white supremacist thing that these people all have? Why do they all sort of look the same? Why couldn't anyone speak to the media? Why were all their faces covered up? I mean, generally, these people that are always told, you know, we're told are right-wing maniacs, they're not big mask people, yet all these people had masks on. They all physically sort of look the same. I mean, they all look sort of fit and in their 20s and 30s and 40s. I mean, we're allowed to ask these questions. I mean, after 2 years of COVID and masks and mandates and vaccines and everything else, like, we're all entitled to be a little bit kind of conspiracy theory minded at this point. So you absolutely did nothing wrong. We're allowed to ask. Oh, and by the way, to your broader point, we know that the FBI has been up to some shady stuff over the last couple of years with false flag operations and planning to kidnap Gretchen Whitmer and a whole bunch of other stuff.
I mentioned that as well that day. And, you know, after we did our segment, Joe Rogan also talked about that. He raised some of the same issues that you did. And like yourself, he has a pretty big megaphone, too, in the world of digital media. Here is Joe Rogan.
There has never been a thing that I've ever seen where almost immediately I was like, those are feds.
Did this happen?
I immediately, like, that's fake. Like, my immediate feeling. I looked at them. First of all, these guys are too slim. I'm looking at these guys. They're all in shape. They're all thin. They're uniformly marching with flags. I'm like, there's no way these idiots would be this organized. But if you look at these people walking down the street with their masks on, all dressed in black, all wearing, like, essentially a uniform, all holding the same size American flag.
Kind of look like the color guard to me, Dave. But, you know, again, and I'm not the one I think the Daily Beast or anybody else should be worried about.
John, why didn't they say anything about anything? Usually these people have something to say about their conquest to make America white and take over and do all that stuff. They didn't have a sign. They didn't say, hey, could you send us an email or send us a couple bucks or here's our PayPal address or just absolutely nothing. So I think this is very possible, if not likely. Rogan obviously is asking the right questions, which is exactly what you're asking. And we should all be a bit more skeptical these days. I think we can at least agree on that.
And you know I enjoy a scholarly pursuit and doing my research. I actually read the ProPublica piece that was cited in the Daily Beast article. And, you know, they mention how this group passes around a lot of propaganda. They are interested in intimidating people. But, you know, one of the guys, I can't get a member of the group, had been arrested for a gun charge. But none of the things mentioned in the article compare to the destruction we saw across America's cities. And they also quote an anonymous person using the name Samuel. He's from New York, apparently. And here's what he said to ProPublica, quote, "I would say the biggest accomplishment of masking up and obscuring our faces," he wrote, "we can make them feel as if there are thousands of us when there are only a few hundred, and we could be anyone and no one at the same time. Next time they are at CVS and see a white kid with a neat haircut, it could be us. Fear of the unknown is the greatest fear of all." So that's what they want to do, is scare us, and we can't let them scare us.
That's some fine journalism. Anonymous Samuel said it. Oh my God, and it fits the narrative that they would always want to get out perfectly. I can't believe it. I'm going to have to really think about this.
Yeah, so there we go with that. But anyway, you know, and Florida is doing pretty well, actually. But don't listen to Jimmy Kimmel when it comes to COVID. He was making fun of Ron DeSantis last night over the way, of course, he's handled the whole pandemic. I don't know where Jimmy Kimmel lives in his little bubble in California, but here he is talking about Florida.
Florida yesterday reported their first case of Omicron, and Omicron reported its first case of Florida. So rest assured, Governor Omicron DeSantis will do everything he can to make sure as many Floridians get infected as possible. You know, there was
lowest transmission rate in the country, Dave.
Yeah, you know, I personally don't get my pandemic information from people who have been in blackface like Jimmy Kimmel or his ex-girlfriend, Sarah Silverman. They're big blackface fans. That's just my thing about blackface and pandemic information. But let's even pretend that Jimmy Kimmel believed this thing was as deadly as he would love you to believe. Would he be making jokes about it? Would he be joking about all the dead people in Florida? Of course not. Everyone knows This is basically complete nonsense at this point. This is endless scare tactics. Jimmy Kimmel can live in his $20 million Hollywood Hills mansion and he can wrap his head in saran wrap and put on 87 masks, but he doesn't even do that because none of these people live by their rules. They love Gavin Newsom, who declared a state of emergency, or extended, I should say, his state of emergency in California about 3 weeks ago. And then where did he go? He took a vacation in Cabo. It was about 200 grand for the week for his family, believe it or not. John, you ever spend 200 grand on a weekly vacation? I'm guessing not. I know Newsmax pays pretty well.
Not yet, Dave.
I'm guessing.
Not yet. I will someday, I hope.
And where's Gavin Newsom right now? He's in New York City on a book tour, and he sat with the shrieking harpies of The View. That's what a state of emergency we're in here. He's hawking a book.
It's critical.
On The View.
Critical times. Yeah, Gavin Newsom, what a gem. Gavin Newsom.
If you're looking for more honest and thoughtful conversations about politics instead of nonstop yelling, check out our politics playlist. And if you want to watch full interviews on a variety of topics, watch our full episode playlist all right over here. And to get notified of all future videos, be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell.